few seconds. Boom. In there like somewhere. Okay. So let's see here. We are live. And of course, if you're tuning in already, or if you're not and you watch this later, just wanted to let you know we are going to have a discussion today. And our conversation today, as you see in the topic that says from high school to college to W-2 employee interview with Simon Jr. And so that's what we're going to talk about today. And I'll give a few seconds for a few people to jump in the room. And if you are jumping in the room and you're on Facebook, great. On Facebook, my name is Simon Steele. And don't confuse it with his, because his is the same way. And hopefully one day he'll add Junior towards the end so no one's confused. And then on YouTube, my YouTube channel is Coach Steele's Finance Training. Coach Steele's Finance Training. So you're more than welcome to jump in on YouTube, and that would be great if you do. And if you do get to YouTube, make sure you subscribe. Make sure you jump in there, watch videos, like, comment, give your thoughts and your suggestions and opinions. And that way I'll look at them. If it ends up being topics or ideas that you come up with, things that you would want to know and learn about, feel free to leave those comments in there, and I'll be able to get to them and hopefully address those thoughts. And also, while we're waiting a few more seconds to get started, I do want to show you all something. My older sister, who makes candles, Posh, I believe it's called Posh Lifestyles. Let me see here. Yes, Posh Lifestyles. She makes these beautiful candles that smell good. They smell delicious, but also they look good as well. So this one is called Lemon. What did it say?
Verbena.
Yes. So that's what it says. And of course, you see in the design there's a lemon there as well. So not only do they smell good, but they are very artistic in design as well. And another one that she left me this weekend when she came and visited was strawberry shortcake. And so that's another one. It smells beautiful, smells just like strawberry shortcake. Of course, you see the design there. It has strawberry in there, and you like these beautiful candles, and they smell good. So anyway, if you're interested in getting some candles, let me know, and I'll connect you with her. So as we get started today, how are you doing?
Doing good. How about you?
I'm doing great. I'm excited to talk about this subject. I think it's going to help other young people, whether they are transitioning from high school to college or from college to finding a W-2 job. So I do believe that this is good and it's important. And many people will go through and watch this. Once they see and stay connected to the depth and the detail of this interview, I think they're going to watch this from start to finish, and probably have their kids watch this from start to finish as well, because of the places that we're going to go in here. And if you had to, in a nutshell, how would you introduce yourself?
Name Simon Steele Jr., 23 years old, going to be 24 soon. Graduated from college probably like 2.5 years ago. From Bruton Parker, where I did cross country and track, as the t-shirt says, and graduated with a bachelor's in computer information systems. And after that, a couple months after that, I got a job, and then I got another job, and then now recently, I'm going to be moving to another job in a whole completely different state.
Okay, so and I know we are a little ways from the laptop and from the other device for Facebook. So as we talk, until I get some more better mics, make sure you project a little bit as well, just in case there's someone that needs to be able to hear a little bit better on what we're saying. So you are Simon Steele Jr., and like you mentioned, you did end up going to college. And what did you say you studied in college?
Computer information systems. Got a bachelor's in that.
Okay. What is computer information systems?
Originally, it started think computer with a side of business into it. So I took a good bit of business classes, accounting, managerial, stuff like that, but eventually got to segue into strictly computer information systems, which is focusing more on IT, coding, what else? But more so based on the IT basis and working and stuff like that, and different avenues you can do within IT versus just having a split between business and computers.
Okay. And of course, all of those things you mentioned are not my strengths. They probably would be seen as weaknesses. So it's interesting that even though you come out of the same household, what your parents' strengths are may not be what you necessarily go to school for. You may go to school for something completely different, but the morals and standards that you learn are translatable to matter no matter what a career field or class you find yourself in. Not necessarily the trades that your parents know or your their skill sets, but their morals, traditions, discipline, things like that. Your character and how you character build when you're younger. But anyway, when you were in high school, what were some of the things you participated in high school?
Did mainly sports. I did basketball, did cross country, I did track. Probably would have done more, but those were the top three. Uh, if not that, I did volunteer work since in one of the schools it was mandatory to get volunteer hours in, and then eventually I did it for other things, whether it was scholarship based or just had to get a certain amount of hours because the school said so.
Mm-hmm.
And
what was that one place you volunteered at your senior year of high school?
Keep Liberty Beautiful.
Yeah, Keep Liberty Beautiful, and with Karen Bell.
Yes.
Shout out to Karen Bell. She's awesome. She did a great job of taking care of you and also opening us up. I remember we were there and we did the
Pollination Garden or
pollination garden.
Yeah.
Yes, and I didn't even know what pollinating was. I was just helping clean the garden. But anyway, as we go through there and we talk about high school, what are some things you did in high school to help you prep for college? And when we talk about things like this, we're talking about financial literacy. So there are some things that he did to prep for college. You know, I understand about grades, academics, but I'm coming from the financial side, which does have something to do with grades. But what are some of the things you did to help you financially prepare for college?
I would say one, just thinking about it early. Thinking about it right when you become a senior or end of senior year.
Make sure you speak up.
Or the end of senior year, just being proactive about what you're trying to do or planning to do,
Mm-hmm.
whether if you're going to college or not, and if you are going to go to college, knowing how you're going to accomplish that. So that's one, just knowing about it and being proactive about it. Two is knowing the situation or where you're trying to be at. So if you know you're trying to be at a private school or versus a public school or community college, knowing how much that is going to cost. And then once you know how much that is going to cost, plan accordingly, know how much it is required to get there.
Mm-hmm.
And other things you can do to minimize the cost there is being proactive about looking for scholarships, whether that's within the school you're going to, because there's schools, well, high schools that provide scholarships, whether that's being part of a program like our RTOs or CLT or whatever.
ROTC?
ROTC, yeah. But whether being in that, you can tell I wasn't in that. But yeah, there's plenty of those, and there's a lot more. You just have to, there's websites that have a whole list of them. You can ask people. There's usually people at the school, whether it's a counselor or et cetera, that knows other places you can go to look for scholarships. There's places you can go for grants that will be available. So having that option, looking out for that. And also knowing when to sign up for your federal student aid. That is a big key. That's basically free money. Doing all those documents that's required, making sure that gets done and don't be in late, because the later on you do it, the less money you're more likely to have than doing it early, or when it's first out there, you can possibly get more just by being active about that. Also, on the grade side, academic side, being aware that there's AP classes or there's dual enrollment classes out there, so you can get those credit hours early on. So say core classes, you have the English, math, science, blah, blah, blah. You can potentially have those done before stepping inside college. So that's usually a year and a half, 2 years done out of the 4 you got to do. And now you can focus on your major, your minor, whatever. And that's less money you have to pay for classes, books, etc., because you was active on doing that meanwhile in high school.
Okay, and so let's break some of that down. So one of the last things you mentioned was dual enrollment. So when you say dual enrollment, let's say there's a middle school student or ninth grader, they've never heard of it, not sure what it is. What is dual enrollment in a nutshell?
Dual enrollment in a nutshell would be taking college courses while still in high school, and that sometimes they have shared places where you don't have to go to the college to do that. It basically depends on the college and the college that accepts you to do that, and that's mainly what it is. Sometimes you have to drive to the campus to take those specific classes. Sometimes you can drive to a shared place where the school buses will even take you. Sometimes you don't even have to drive there.
Can you take them during the summer?
Yes, I'm pretty sure you can take them during the summer.
Okay, so then you can even take online classes during the summer while you're in high school. That will be college courses. And when we talk about financial literacy and prepping for college, when he talks about taking college courses in high school, one of the benefits is you have potential, and I know they're changing the rules with dual enrollment and when you can start, but before you could start taking classes early in high school. You could take a number of classes. And so when you went to college, how many credit hours did you have of dual enrollment? How many college credit hours do you have, as far as estimate, do you believe you had?
If not, probably close to halfway of an associate's completed, but by the time I got there.
And one of the benefits of that is the fact that he did do dual enrollment and took some college classes in high school. When he talks about having close to an associate's, that means he has over a year of college done. And like you mentioned earlier, taking some of those basic foundational classes. So if you're taking some of those basic foundational classes for free in high school, when you get to college, then that first year of taking basic classes, math, science, social studies, English, if you took it for free, then whatever your first year of college is, you ended up saving a lot of money. So, for example, the college you went to, what would you say on average was the cost to attend the university for 1 year?
Oh man, it's hard even for me to guess right now because it's been a while. But it was, I for sure know it was on the pricey side.
I think it was around 26,000, somewhere in there.
It was definitely on the pricey side because it was a private college.
Correct. And that's something else you mentioned earlier about the difference between going to private school and a public school. What do you think is the biggest difference financially from choosing a private school and a public university?
Public, they get more assistance or they get more help, so they can offer more, I guess, of a friendlier price range if you're choosing to go there. Otherwise, the private, they're more so on their own, hence why it's private, and they basically will charge more because they have to scrounge up money and have to look other places. Otherwise, from a public school where it's more easier to access help to get money for the college. So that's why they're more on the pricier side, because they have to find different and other options, and majority of the options will be students coming in, which they will have to pay more, and in a public school they can go to different things such as that.
And also, if you're in Georgia and you, let's say you have Hope Scholarship with a public school, the Hope, I believe, covers more of the tuition than the private school as well. So those are some other things to look at, that your government funding or that state funding, how does it affect you differently from public to private? So those are some other things to look at. And so when you talk about preparing for college, in high school, are there any other things that you did besides? How did academics affect you with preparing for college, far as financially?
Besides dual enrollment, it's getting like something such as Hope Scholarship. I forgot what the other one is called. And that's another option based on whether you're doing well in class and during SAT, ACT. I forgot the scholarship, but it's over Hope.
Mm-hmm. So basically, making good grades,
yes,
puts more money in your pocket.
So yeah, definitely focus in class, and otherwise, outside of class, you will. Another option is getting a job. I mean, getting a job won't be fun, but having more money in your pocket, whether it's to strictly pay for loans or just to have more to move in, have stuff available to eat, all comes along in the back end because you were dedicated to spend extra hours in a job. So just such as that, you'll be more prepared basically, and don't go into the job ready to spend what you earn. No, coming out of it, okay, this is money I'm going to set aside strictly for college and dedicate that money just for that. I mean, yeah, you can spend a little if you want to on yourself, but no majority is going to go for that purpose and that purpose only.
Did you do anything else to help yourself out financially for college? I'll give them a hint. What else did you do that helped make college more affordable and free for you? Did you get any scholarships?
Oh, yeah, I think I said I got track and cross country scholarship.
Oh, okay.
Before. But yeah, that's another thing. If you're athletically gifted, and also be proactive about that as well. I mean, some schools will search out, but a lot of them don't, and they just have specific eyes on specific people, and they may not even know about you. But if you contact them directly, whether it's via email, via phone call, such as that, you can put eyes on yourself just because you were active about that, proactive about that, and now that you are on their radar, now they can come to your games, come to your meets, etc., because you were vocal. And a lot of closed mouths don't get fed. So make sure if you know about the times or you know about what they're looking for, go like, yeah, I do these things. This is my grades. I've been a good kid. If you volunteer, put that all compiled in whatever you do, whether it's a call or email, package that, send that, blast that to whoever colleges you're trying to be at. And even if you don't know the requirements, there's nothing wrong with asking to see if you can get that.
So when you were looking for that cross country and track scholarship, when you tell that young people should be proactive, in other words, you're saying don't just rely on your high school coach,
right,
to initiate those connections with the college, collegiate level, but you should be proactive yourself. So what are some of the things that you did to be proactive and not just rely on your high school coach?
One, I had a good idea what level I could compete on and get a good amount back. Being self-aware, I saw my times and compared it to times that, they have meets and etc. on the internet for anybody to look at. All you got to do is just know where to look. And then once you see like, okay, D1 times, they're coming in around this time for this amount of mileage. Am I accomplishing that? Am I near that? Yes or no? Okay. D2, am I doing that? Yes or no? If not, D3, And the thing about D3 is you won't get an athletic, but they do have academic scholarships available. So that's another reason to stay on your books, because if you're not D1, D2 material, as of now, then you have the D3 option, and last but not least, you have the NAIA, NAIA, what's it also called? JUCO options available, and those are a little tricky as well. For me, my situation is a little tricky because I did a lot of dual enrollment classes, so I couldn't stay there for long since I was already close to an associates, and with that, JUCO college,
they're normally a 2-year.
Right.
Yeah.
So I knew that option wasn't for me. So the best was NAIA. So I did do that. Hit up a lot of NAIA schools. They told me the required times.
When you say you hit them up, what do you mean?
Contacted them and emailed.
You reached out to the head coaches. Did you take any visits, or you just only talked to them?
After reaching out, they got back to me as well, and I saw that they were interested. Did plan meetups and going to their school visits, such as that, to see the school before even going there, to look around, see if that's a place that I was comfortable being at. Did do those, a few of them.
Okay. And so those are some of the things you did to help you financially prepare for college out of high school. And another thing that you didn't mention was how you went to the scholarship classes to help you prepare for scholarships and how to apply for scholarships, and some of the things you did to with writing those scholarships. As we went to certain classes that talk about scholarship writing and preparation for them, and having basically a blueprint of papers, written papers to multiple universities that basically you could wash, rinse, and repeat and send out to multiple universities to apply for scholarships. So that's something else that you did to help prepare you for college. And so by doing that and everything that we mentioned, if you could do anything different to help you prepare financially for college, what's 1 or 2 things that you would do different now that you would tell another young person to help them prepare?
Definitely, if you have the time, which you probably will, is be more consistent about having a job while maintaining what you do in school and trying to keep that in balance and with time management and stuff like that. So that's just more in your pocket at the end of the day, and I don't think anybody would oppose having more money. And also,
but what if a kid is playing sports, they're in school, so you would tell them to go try to get a job while they're in high school?
If they're in a sport, and you would have to be a little more creative. You may not have the option to clock in like other students may do. So one thing I did was I went and mowed lawns. Had time off, whether I was from practicing or from school on the weekends. I mean, you're not practicing the whole weekend. You're going to have time to yourself. So with that, I had time management. Saw when I had an open window. In those open windows, got a lawnmower, mowed lawns, got a profit, and went one by one, spreading through my own neighborhood. And that was ways I got more of the income coming in rather than opposed to nothing.
So, and that's good that you did mention that. So a high school student doesn't necessarily have to find a job, a W-2 type job, but like you did, you were an entrepreneur, you were self-employed, and so you had your own company.
My own time.
You had your own company, your own time, and you went and cut grass, mowed lawns when you had free time, whether it was the summertime or during the year, and you had consistent clients. And you had your own vehicle, so you could throw your lawnmower in the back of the vehicle and go cut yards to make money because I wasn't giving him any. And so he would fill up his own gas tank. He would put gas in his vehicle to get back and forth to school and wherever else he was going. So it helped teach him responsibility, being mature, and being able to appreciate the dollar and what it takes to have that money. So then you won't be as frivolous when it comes time to spend. And so when we transition from high school and we go to talking about college, when we look at college, what was your experience financially in college? Like, what are some of the things you did to budget in college or to manage money in college?
I would say starting off, I didn't really budget in college because I rarely spent anything to begin with. If it was anything, if I was getting food, I was going to the cafeteria, getting food for my meal plan that I'm already paying for because it's blending in with tuition and etc. So doing that, I went to other people's dorms. If they had food, ask, get some. So, I mean, people knew of me, people liked me, so they didn't mind sharing and stuff like that. So it's not, I wasn't really going out buying my own food, doing stuff like that. And if I did, it was like small stuff, and stuff that lasted a while, not just quickly like fast food or going to the mall just to get something. So
if someone's a college student, what's something that they can get that lasts a while?
Sandwiches never go wrong. Bread, ham, peanut butter. Another thing, ramen noodles. They definitely last a while. If you know how to cook, then you can cook. Don't know where much a lot of colleges have that option at, but another thing is just investing in an air fryer to get some cooked meals. So yeah, stuff that if it's not like just one time, like some gummies or.
Did you do okay? So even though you said you didn't do much budgeting in college, you actually did because you just said how you didn't spend as much. So that's your budget. But did you do any investing in college?
I eventually did.
So what did your investing look like for you while you were in college?
It was more so just a lot of unplanned things, which I don't advise, but I knew I wasn't going to miss the money if I were to not have it anymore. I knew that was like playing money. So, when I say that, it's like money you won't miss if it's gone.
Mm-hmm.
And whatever you have available to you, you still are able to get whatever you need done, and you won't be in a deficit, won't be losing out. So that was money I had on extra end. So since that was money I had on extra end, it was more so just getting pushed to stocks and stuff like that. Stocks that either were big or were in an industry that I thought would help or is on the come up. So yeah, it mainly went to a bunch of different stocks.
Okay, so what's interesting about this is as we're talking to everyone, and if you're tuning in, we're on Facebook Live and we're on YouTube. So feel free to comment, feel free to like, feel free to subscribe if you are on YouTube. Follow us. But we're talking about financial literacy and a young man who went from high school to college and now W-2 employee. And so what's interesting is we're talking about, did he invest while he was in college? And so for the average person, can the people on Facebook see you? Or can they see half of you? There you go. So for the average person in college, most young people, students in college do not invest while they're in college. It is not the norm. You're usually taking what you have and you're using it your best to survive off of. Hello, Mr. Craig Brown. Good seeing you. Glad that you're tuning in. So most college students don't invest. And what you said, which is important, is you never invested money that you knew you needed to survive. And you also invested money that if it were not to be successful, if you did lose the money, it wasn't going to be the end. You were going to be fine. So I think that's important to mention. And for whether you're in college or whether you're an adult, that you do not invest funds that that have a risk of losing. You only want to invest and put money into the stock market, that you're okay with investing and you don't need to survive month to month, day to day. So when you did invest in stocks in college, what was your mindset as far as investing? Was it short term? Was it long term? And what kind of stocks did you invest in?
It was definitely long term. There are people who do short term. I just knew I wasn't well versed in it, nor was I trying to be well versed in it. So that's my mind was set on long term and long term only. And it was mainly big companies that I already knew of or used myself. Like I have an Apple phone at the time, Apple, Microsoft. You probably got a Microsoft computer. Boom. Amazon. Everybody uses Amazon. Boom. Google. People use Google each and every day. So stuff like that. And if I found like I was going to school for basically technology, so I knew some technology companies and stuff like that that most people may not know of. So I would just go like, oh, I remember that company. I used it, or I'm using it. Let me put some money in that as well.
Okay, and so that's good. You invested in things that you know people were normally using, things you were familiar with, and were potentially using yourself as well. So that's a good safe bet and a good place to start off, especially if you're in college and you're just starting the process of investing. But I do think that's pretty amazing as a college student going to a university, wherever you are, to start the process of investing. And what's cool is what you learn is, if you're a young person out there, is it does not take much to get started with investing. You can start with investing $1. You can start with investing $500. The point is to get started with whatever amount you have. And you don't have to have enough money to buy a whole share. You can actually buy fractional shares. You can buy small shares and work your way up to a whole share as you're investing, and that money will have time to build up and grow while you're in college. You know, the average person's in college anywhere between 4 to 6 years. So what can that dollar do? What can that $500 do and grow to while you're in college? Out of sight, out of mind. So it's good that you did that. And because you played sports, did that benefit you in any way as far as your budget or being able to get food?
Say the question again.
In other words, did the team feed you? Was it beneficial that you played sports? Did you get free meals when you went on trips?
For sure. That there were moments where, of course, even in high school, where you take a trip to a game or a meeting, you have to provide for yourself. But yes, there are definitely moments where they do. They even do trips or team get-togethers where you be provided with food on the side, because they know usually on weekends the CAF is not as available as it would be on the weekdays, and there are those moments where people are hungry and want food. So they'll go like, okay, I'm gonna do this for y'all since y'all are on the team, since y'all are on scholarship, since we appreciate y'all and everything y'all are doing. We'll do this little thing for y'all, and why not make it? And sometimes get planned on to be a monthly thing, a weekly thing, depending on where you're going. But yeah, it's definitely been a benefit being part of a team or being on scholarship.
Okay, well, being on scholarship and playing sports in college as well on a collegiate level, what other financial benefits or things did they help supply you with that the average person would need as well?
Definitely, if you want to get more clothes, they provide you with different types of gear or schoolwear. What else?
I don't know. You ran, so did they give you shoes?
Well, it goes into gear a little bit. But yeah, shoes, part of gear. But yeah, all in all, I know the big thing is clothes, shoes, whatever athletic wear you may want to have. You didn't have to always get that yourself. They provided that because they wanted it, of course, to be part of the team, whether they had a symbol or be part of the team color, stuff like that.
Okay, cool. So when we talk about budgeting and prepping in college and things like that, and when we look at the grand scheme of college, when you get to the point of graduating college, do you feel that college financially was a burden and it broke you, or did you walk away with money in your pocket?
Because of what I've planned before and during college, I walked away positive and with money, opposed to just in total student debt and knowing that I need to get this handled. It was more so if I did have student debt, I know how to get it done. I know how to take care of it. It is not a worry.
Okay, and what's the reason why I bring that up is there's such a big debate now that, and I don't know if you've heard about this, a lot of people at this point are saying going to college is not worth it because the student debt, the student loans are so egregious and it's so much that by the time someone tries to find a job to pay it back, that going to get a 4-year degree may not be worth it, but learning a trade or getting certifications make more sense than spending those 4 years in school when you could learn a trade or get certifications and start off working and making money while your peer is probably spending 4 years going in the hole and you're going positive. So when you look at those scenarios, you give an example of how you can actually go to school and come back with more money in your pocket than when you actually left and went to school. So the fact that you went to school and used school to benefit you and left the university with thousands of dollars back in your pocket, what do you say towards that subject or that thought process of some people who say it may not be worth going to school anymore versus some people say a 4-year degree is important?
One, it definitely is focused on what you're trying to do in life. If what you're trying to do basically requires a degree, a bachelor's, then it's kind of hard to work your way up to get to that point or get to that specific job when that's a requirement. But if all you're trying to do is do something that's a trade or do something on your own business, there are ways to get around without having a degree to get that done. But if you're on the side where what you need to get done is to have a degree, then step 1 is knowing that. Step 2 is knowing that if you do not have the money for it, you are required to get the loans for it to go to school there, because the school wants their money at the end of the day, and the school is basically a business. And if they do not get their money, you will not be there no more. So that is number 1, knowing that you will have to put in money to be there. And 2, having a plan set up to do that. And like we said before, the ways to prep for it, you can look for scholarships there within the school, within high school, others, whether it's volunteering work, others where it's just completely random. Like there's probably one about left-handed people where you can write an essay that you're left-handed and what it's done for your life or how you experienced it, because it's not the norm, and you may get money just off that alone. And even being there, whether there's grants there at the school, outside of school, whether you know what you're trying to do, you got your mind made up about the job you want, and they have a work study available at the time, and you can clock in whenever you are open to do that. Or they may have a program where you can go to a site outside of school and you can get more used to a job while being at school, and then they can see you, onboard you, and you could potentially have a job right when you get out of school, because they've seen you work day in, day out. They know you, they know how you work, who you are. So there's a bunch of different ways, but it's just knowing about it. I think that's the big thing. Not a lot of kids are thinking broke when they're going to college. A lot of kids are going like, oh, this is the next step, because this is normally what people do, is what people say to do. It's going to be fun. And that's the one-track mind that I think a lot of kids are going to, and they're not. And until they're finally there, they're going like, oh gosh, what have I actually stepped into? And then that's why you see a lot of kids a lot of students, they come in the first year, you won't even see them the second semester, because they see the financial burden that they was not welcome or they did not know about.
Okay. And shout out to David if he's still watching, Mr. David Thomas. got nothing but love for you. But I ain't gonna pick on you too much right now, David. But I thought I was gonna see you this weekend, but I'm gonna leave that alone. But actually, I'm gonna set up an interview with you too, David. I want to interview you and ask you some financial literacy questions as well. So I look forward to having a conversation with you, David, about financial literacy and your process and your journey as well. I think it'll be pretty interesting and to give a different dynamic. And Simon, you said a few things here that were interesting. One about the stuff you did in school. All right, I'm gonna give you a pass, David. And it's cool. We'll reconnect. But you talked about the job you did in school. What's it called again?
Work study.
Work study. Being able to do work study in school to make some extra money. And a lot of good things came from that. And I think it helped open you up. It built a better relationship with you and some of your professors.
Yes.
And like you mentioned, it helped you network as well because some of actually one of your cross country coaches, he was kind of in the IT field. So it opened up a conversation for what he does and the job he had. And also one of your professors was able to network outside of the school as you went for interviews when you were getting ready to graduate. I remember you were going for interviews with people that they knew. So it opened up that opportunity, like you mentioned, get that training, get the internship in a sense, and connect with other people. So that did help you with the job interview process as you were looking for a job, getting ready to graduate. Right. And so David said he wanted to come back. That's all right, David. We got you next time. So here's an interesting thing. I remember growing up, I started off in the hole. So trying to learn financial literacy, trying not to make certain mistakes. I started off in the hole financially and was trying to dig myself out so that I could get to a place to where I could be comfortable financially. But it took a while because I started off in the hole. In your case, you graduated college and you weren't in the hole financially, you weren't in the hole educationally, you weren't in the hole physically. So what do you think is one of the benefits that financially you were not in a negative hole when you graduated? You weren't in the red when you graduated college.
One, for sure, is a peace of mind. Usually at the end of college, you're thinking of, okay, if you are aware of the loans and the debts that you've taken and can accrue over the years, you can think, oh, I got a lot to pay for, I got a lot to do, and I need to get this done now and as fast as possible. I need to hurry up and get a job. I don't care what type of job it is, I just need one to hurry up and start this process out because there is a lot to do. And because I already was prepared for it, I was more as of ease than getting a job. Then rather just getting a job, I could get the job I wanted and the job that was in my field and that I was prepared for and that I actually wanted to be in, but then just opposed to any other job.
Oh, man, big dude, what's up? Go ahead.
But yeah, that was one of the benefits. Another, more, I could invest in more. I knew whatever was set aside was, whether it was for me personally because the wants are for school and paying that off, but another was I could invest more and I can invest smarter. As the more I got to do it, the more I found out little and more stuff about it and started doing different things and okay, let me try this out, let me try that out. And that's another thing, experiment. I could experiment more because like I said, it's play money. I can do whatever I want with it because at the end of the day, I didn't need it. It was, sometimes you got to spend money to make money. This was money I was able to spend. And whether that was going to a business side thing that I wanted to try out, see how this goes. And even if it didn't work out, I wasn't mad. I wasn't upset because I could afford to do that. So just stuff like that, I could experiment more and I had more peace of mind getting out of college.
Okay, cool. So starting out in the positive and not being in such a whole negative when you graduated, it allowed you to experiment financially and it allowed you to invest more. And so you started learning more. But when you talk about learning more about finances, and once again, shout out to Amon, man. I'm proud of you. You got your beautiful family, dude. You're impressive, and I see you got your baby, and y'all are tight, still rocking the man. That's pretty amazing. So salute to you, doing the right thing and being there for your family as well. Very good dude. Who knows? Maybe we end up having a conversation as well about financial literacy. That may go well. Although I don't know if our mom would talk on the camera. That'd be interesting. I know he like to be quiet sometimes. So we'll see. But when you talk about being able to invest because you graduated and you had money coming in, because you did, once you graduated, you took a job during the summer on post. And so when you had that job on post and you have this extra money coming in right after college, a few months within graduating, that's impressive in itself, because some people, it does take time to find a job, right, but you didn't hesitate. You got right after it and you were aggressive with your job hunting. But what made you so aggressive immediately after college, graduating college, to go find a job?
That was just a goal of mine. Towards the end of college, I wanted to start looking for options that I wanted to be employed. I didn't want to be out of college and then, whether it was having a gap year just because I wasn't in school or just because I wanted some free time, or just, I didn't want to have that. I didn't want to be at home doing nothing. And I wanted to be, since I didn't put in years and years of planning and getting a degree just to sit at home and do nothing. That was because I wanted to get the job I wanted to accomplish. So that was why I was active about it, looking for it, hunting for it while I was still in college, after college. And that's probably why it took the amount of time it did, because that's what I wanted to accomplish.
And what's interesting also, to jump back on another point, is because you took those college classes in high school, you ended up graduating college in about 3 years, right, as opposed to going for 4. Right. And so because of that, it saves a year of having to pay for college. And if your university is $26,000 a year, $30,000 a year, some places are $40,000 a year. If you're taking some college classes on a high school level, you may end up saving yourself anywhere between $20,000 to $40,000 in college expenses, just because you knocked out some of those basic courses early on. So you made going to college profitable. And a lot of people aren't able to do that or create that situation. College becomes a liability and it becomes a struggle. But because you were strategic about how you did it, you made college profitable. And I think it's important that anytime you get ready to make a move in life, you try to make that move become beneficial and profitable for you. Everything that you don't always see a profit, you don't always see the green in the beginning, but you set yourself up to be able to see the positive, the profits somewhere through the process or towards the end to benefit you. So now whatever you make off of your degree is all profit, because you graduated in the green, thousands of dollars in the bank, because of how you prepared for college and the things you put in place to make college affordable. So now when we get to where we are in this process and this journey, you graduated, you have a job, you don't have a bunch of bills, you don't have a lot of expenses, and at this point, now you have money to invest. You have more money to invest. So when you talk about having more money to invest, what type of things did you invest in?
A few, or the things I invested in was an IRA, my own retirement account. Yes, you can have that.
What does IRA stand for?
Individual retirement account.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
So,
what type of IRA? Because there's different types of IRAs.
The one I got was a Roth.
Okay.
But yeah, with a job, they can have one for you set up, but you can also have one on your own that you put money into on your own time and however much you want. So it's just like a backup. and extra. Who wouldn't want extra when they retire? So that's just extra for retirement, preparing for that whenever it happens. And I'm doing it when I want to at my own pace.
Mm-hmm.
So that was one. Another was ETFs. I can just sum that up to stocks in a basket of stocks.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't know specifically what stock you want to do specifically, because when you buy a stock, it's just one company.
Do you know what ETF stand for? They can't hear you.
I do not.
Yeah, you do. Exchange
Trade fund?
Trading funds. Yes. So it's like you can buy a stock individually on its own. If I want to invest in Google, if I want to invest in Tesla, but ETFs may take a lot of different companies and put them in one house and what I call a gumbo, or what do you call it?
Basket.
A basket, and you can invest in that ETF, that fund. And so you were talking about investing in, you set up a Roth IRA, and when I look at you setting up the Roth IRA, I see Amon said appreciate it, and he'd be down. He missed the crypto talks that I had on the timeline. And so when you set up your, started investing in your Roth, what made you decide to go with the Roth IRA? Shout out Michael Richardson.
I think it had to do with how it would be taxed in the end compared to the other kind of retirement account.
What is the other retirement account? There's Roth, and then there's,
Can't remember off the top of my head.
starts with a T.
Is it traditional?
Yes, traditional. So a traditional Roth. Traditional, they take the taxes out when you, nope. They take the taxes out once you start withdrawing. Once you start getting distributions, once you hit that certain retirement age and you start drawing from that retirement fund, they tax it then. They tax it later. With the Roth, they're taxing it now. And then when you do withdraw later, it's not taxable. So whatever you get, it's all yours. So you got a Roth and you're investing in that, and then you have an ETF. You got a job, you got a regular 9 to 5. You get an ETF, you start investing in that. What type of ETFs did you invest in?
It was mainly just more known ones. I've just looked up, like, I guess if I could put in the word popular or known, well-known ETFs. I can't remember off the top of my head, but it was mainly, like I said, in college, I wasn't doing much of my own research, really studying, looking down, stuff like that. Just wanted to know stuff I knew at the top of my head or people that knew of them as well.
Mm-hmm.
So mainly into those type of ETFs or gumbo baskets.
One of the ETFs I started investing in was VOO, VOO. I started investing in that one, but what's this one you've been investing in more recently, the past few months?
The one I've been doing, or
no, it's two of them, I think.
Yeah, I can't remember the other one, but one I know is NVDY. That is the
Let me write that
acronyms
down.
for it or letters for it, and can't remember the exact company is for, but this is like the first time I ever looked into dividend ETFs, and I was interested in dividend stocks, but like I said, I didn't want to go and look for specific ones and what they were doing, and compared to one that had a whole bunch of options of them, and I can get possibly a piece from all of them at the same time. Because with a stock, you are solely invested in that and that only, and if something goes wrong with that, something's wrong with it. But with a whole option, a whole basket, it doesn't matter if one or two go wrong because you have a plethora more that can make up for that.
Okay. So NVDY is one of the ETFs that you invested in, and you said they give dividends.
Yes, dividends,
So
monthly dividends.
So it's monthly dividends. So if someone doesn't know what a dividend is, how would you explain to them what a dividend is?
Based on how much you put into the company, you could get paid based on how much you are, how big of a share you have in there.
Mr. Smith. So basically a dividend, you said based on how much you put in monthly, you
I
get
just put in total. Yeah,
Mhm.
how much you put in to get that ETF, or if you continue to put in, and if it grows, you have potential to put in more or get more for your return. But yeah, I couldn't off the top of my head tell you the equation it is to get the dividend, but that is, if I could put it in words, it would be like that.
You know how I describe dividends? As you invest money into a certain stock or ETF, some companies will give you dividends quarterly, annually, monthly, and a dividend is basically they give you money back.
Right.
They give you a percentage back based off of how many shares you have, or the based off of the value of that share, you get a certain percentage of money back every month. So dividends put more money, profit back into your pocket based off of how much you've invested in there. That's the easiest way that I describe it. So you started investing in ETFs, exchange traded funds, and these funds, and now you're getting dividends back. And so with that, do you know NVDY, this ETF, do you know what the interest is on dividends?
No.
Do you have an estimate?
It varies. You saying how much I get back, or what are you trying to say?
Not how much you get back monthly, but do you know what the interest is as far as on that dividend, about how much on average monthly the interest is?
Yeah, I couldn't even tell you.
Do you know if it's like 5%, 10%, the range?
I don't know the range.
Okay, so on NVDY, what would you say on average monthly you make in dividends that you get back?
Between $100, $200.
Okay, so you get in between $100 to $200 a month.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you get this dividends, when you get this money from this stock, do you have to like clock in? Do you have to report?
No. The reason why I was looking into it in the first place because I was trying to find more ways to earn passive income, which is me not having to clock in, me not having to put my own time, effort, energy into gaining more money, is something I can put my money into, but basically make my money work for me. And that was a way of getting that, and a way that I saw that I didn't mind doing, nor did I have to put in so much work or just energy on my own thinking, because the ETF handles itself. Mm-hmm. I don't have to control it. I don't do nothing with it. I just let it go, let it do what it have to do whatever I have to do it with my day. So that was one of the ways I saw passive income, and I didn't mind doing it.
Okay, so going from high school to college to getting that first job, after graduating college, you are still investing with the mindset of you're not going to limit yourself to only a W-2 income, but you're finding other ways to make your money work for you, and you're using your W-2 income to create passive income, money that you can make without having to clock in, without having to physically be there. And if you're asleep, the money keeps coming.
Right.
If you're awake, the money keeps coming. If you're away, if you take vacation with passive income, the money keeps coming. And one of the easiest ways that you found to do that was investing in ETFs that give dividends. And one of the examples he gave was NVDY, making anywhere between $100 to $200 a month off of that. And so I won't dive too deep into your financials or your personal business when we go there. But I think that's pretty cool to be 23 years old and to have passive income just from one investment, and you're making anywhere between $100 to $200 a month. Because do you have any bills that are anywhere between $100 to $200 a month?
Yeah, car insurance, the phone bill.
So that passive income from that ETF could pay your phone bill every month.
Yes.
And that's pretty cool. And so that's something to think about, guys, that even though you're young and you're trying to make ends meet, and whether you're paycheck to paycheck or whether you're trying to create extra money every month, that you can make investments that bring in money every single month. And with that money, you could actually use it to pay bills if you needed to. Now, keep in mind, if you do not need that passive income from that investment right now to pay any bills or expenses, the good thing is with that dividend, what can you do?
Basically, it's called rollover. Whatever you gain, whether it's quarterly, annually, monthly, you can keep it in and add it to the share of stocks or the share of ETFs you already have in there. And that way you can earn more the next time, more the next time, more the next time, because it's always going to compound itself on its own because you're not taking anything from it.
Nice. Shout out to my Aunt Sharon who's watching. Amon Davis said definitely a huge accomplishment with what you're doing. And I know you're a guest on my YouTube channel and my Facebook, so I don't know if you want some water, but I got some water for my guests in case you need some. I got some crushed ice here. So if you do get thirsty, just know I got some water there for you also. And I like everyone tuning in. All we're doing is talking about financial literacy, and we're getting ready to dive a little bit deeper into his financial literacy, investments, and transitioning to W-2 jobs and what he's getting ready to do next. In the next week or two, the job he's transitioning to, and then we'll wrap it up. But we're talking about going from high school to college, making college affordable, making college profitable to where he's able to take a profit, go into his first job, and take that money and start investing it to create passive income. One of the things he mentioned was diving into dividend stocks, ETFs that provide a dividend that he could use to pay bills, but instead you elected to take it and roll it over back into the ETF. And I think what's cool about it is now not only are you allowing your money to work for you, but the dividends, the profit that you could take every month, it's now buying the more shares in the ETF.
I don't have to.
Correct. That you don't necessarily have to. You don't have to contribute it. And now you have created a machine that will keep reinvesting funds back into this fund, into this ETF, that if you never gave it another dollar, it would continue to grow. And if you're making anywhere between $100 to $200 a month just off of that one investment, now at 23, for those young people out there at 23, 25, 28, what happens when you turn 35? What happens when you turn 40? What would this investment yield? Not only if you have the dividends rolling over, but if you still continue to contribute every month to it. And so those are some great accomplishments that will allow you eventually, when it's time to transition from a W-2 job to what we call retirement, or doing things that you enjoy doing and things that you like to do. So in essence, graduating from college, making college affordable, actually benefited your financial future and ability to invest early.
Right.
So that's a pretty cool dynamic to look at. And so you invested in ETFs. Any other investments that you did?
Another I was looking at was real estate. Didn't know, well, I knew of it, but you don't really know a lot about it until you actually put yourself into the situations, going to the houses, going to the different units, taking those tours, taking those visits, talking to the real estate agents, talking to the different owners if they are in control of the selling of the house. So just put myself more into it, and it opened my intelligence about it and my knowing of it way more than rather just researching it, looking it up on YouTube. I gained more experience with it and more knowledge about the whole thing as a whole.
Yeah, that was a pretty fun process as we went through that, looking at real estate options, and also not only looking at real estate options, but being strategic about that. We know we were trying to, find a duplex so you can live in one side and rent out the other, getting an FHA loan, financing. That way it'd be a low interest rate, not a low down payment, and things like that. But you're getting ready to move, so we had to put a pause on that as you get ready to move to Colorado. And so one thing I want to talk about is adulting. And so going from high school, college, and starting a 9 to 5 and working, when we talk about adulting, I want to talk about steps to adulting and any surprises that you had. What are some of the steps and things that you had to experience when it comes to adulting and managing and maintaining yourself? And what is a surprise or two that you had that you didn't expect?
One was making sure I write down everything that was coming out or coming in financially. And the first years of college, I wasn't really doing that. But as time go on, which in college is kind of like pre-adulting, because you're kind of on your own, but not really. So I wanted to practice good habits before I was out there in the real world adulting. Just writing everything I was spending my money on. If I was doing work study, how much I had coming in versus coming out. And if there was a negative, there needed to be less spending coming from my end, or there needed to be a lot more working coming on mine as well. So making sure I made those changes. And then so when I came and actually started working, I was already used to keeping track of all that information. So I just kept it going. So making sure I keep it tapped on all of that. And next would be not just having more bills than what I needed. As you do your budget, you see stuff like whether it's streaming, whether it's channels, whether it's an extra part of the phone bill, something you just have on there that comes monthly or annually that you don't really use or don't really need, but you look at your net profit and you're like, okay, I'm barely having anything coming in after all of this is coming out. I need to make some changes. You can look and actually find those changes rather than it just being oblivious, because sometimes we forget things that we're actually paying for or things that we have coming out on a day-to-day basis. But if you keep track of those things and are used to keeping track of those things, they won't slip and pass by because you're constantly monitoring all of that. And what else?
What were some surprises when it comes to adulting and the different things that are required with being an adult? Are there any things that surprised you that you didn't expect, caught you off guard, or you was like, whoa?
I'll just say the main surprise was the cost of living, and especially in different areas. It's so much more than what it used to be. And until you actually are put in those positions, like looking at real estate or just trying to be an adult, you really don't know how much you really have to put into it just to live on a day-to-day basis if you're not having to deal with that. And for most of my life, I didn't have to deal with that because I was living with y'all, not having to do stuff on my own. But when I had to get ready and prepare for that, I was like, oh, this is what is required. This is what is due. This is what people are asking for, whether it's buying a place, whether it's renting a place, whether it's getting my own groceries, whether it's getting my own car. All of that had a cost to it. And I had to be more aware, like, okay, this is not as easy as I thought it would, nor did I think adulting was easy, but it definitely surprised me a bit.
Okay. How did you feel about having to start paying your own car insurance, buying your own vehicle and maintaining that every month?
Definitely didn't like it. Definitely didn't enjoy it, at least bit. But I knew it was something I needed to do to get used to it and to become my own adult. I didn't want to go through life with stuff being handled for me, and then when I have to go somewhere or when I needed to go somewhere, I'm like, okay, what is all of this? I wanted to practice those good habits, practice handling stuff on my own, while even if I'm under supervision. So when I'm not under supervision, I know how to get those things handled.
Okay, so you didn't shy away from the responsibility, but you embraced it. And that was pretty cool. One thing I was happy about as a parent, At one point, he came up to me and he was like, "Dad, I'll pay my own cell phone bill." And so I was like, "Yes." And he was like, "And I'll cover my siblings as well." So he took the cell phone bill of his and his siblings, and it freed me up and saved me some money every month. So that was pretty cool too to see you take on that responsibility and be responsible. And honestly, I just think he got tired of me paying it late, and then his cell phone wouldn't be on. So it just made sense to go ahead and take care of it himself instead of me paying it late. And shout out to Denise Dudley as well. I don't know if you remember your first soccer coach when you were little, so she's tuning in as well. And thank you for your influence and impact as well. You know, coaching and teaching kids, we teach them discipline and we teach them focus, which translates off the field, off the court as well. So one of the last things we look at is job, work, and career. And so what was your job the past 2 years?
Past 2 years, it was IT based. So information technology, being in front of computers, helping people with their hardware, software problems.
I'm listening. I'm just plugging this in.
Bluetooth peripherals, headphones, printers, tablets, laptops, whether they need an internet and they need to be wired versus wireless. So all different types of avenues and stuff like that. Software monitoring, make sure people don't get hacked, making sure they stay on top of their emails. So a lot of that was my 2.5 years of working.
Okay. And so with using your degree in college, that IT field, you're able to find a job past 2 years or so doing that and applying it. And so what we come to next is what you're getting ready to do next. And of course, we are in Georgia, but tell everybody what you're getting ready to do next and where you're transitioning to.
So
Speak up.
Before January, around like December, I applied for a personnel security assistant. Basically, what they do is a little different from IT, still in the office, still in front of a computer, but more so pre-employment, making sure that process gets handled, background checks, make sure all the information needs to get processed and processed thoroughly, information is not leaked or anything such as that, and whether reports need to come through and handling that and making all that nice and pretty. But that was something totally different from what I normally did. Saw the opportunity, saw the growth that it could possibly lead to. So applied for it. January, got an interview late January, and then didn't hear back till like around May that I got it, and I needed to do my background check myself. So that was kind of funny that the job I'm getting, I kind of had to experience a little bit of it because I needed to get a background check myself. But did that, and now I'm going to be moving to Colorado Friday.
Okay, so you're getting ready to move to Colorado and start a new job, a new W-2 job. But at the same time, are you still investing in those investments that bring in passive income?
Yes. Well, more so less than what I used to. Like you said, with the rollover, I don't even have to pay attention into it anymore because it's a machine working on its own and it's doing its own thing. So it's like I'm doing it, but I'm not at the same time because I did pick the option to enable that. But at the same time, it's not coming out of my check. It's not coming out of any type of income I'm already accruing on a month-to-month basis or bi-weekly basis. So yes and no, but it feels like I'm not.
Yeah, but you created an opportunity to invest that will keep on going, even as you transition jobs, and whether there's a delay or a month or two or whatever it is before you start reinvesting back into it, it's always going to continue to grow because you started the process. And I think that's important for people to understand. And I know you're leaving Friday, but if we do have time, we may jump back on here and talk about ETFs and a few that you invested in. That way you have time to do a little more research and give people more information about some of that passive income that you've created through investing in those ETFs. But as we get ready to wrap up and come to a close, like I said, we're talking about going from high school to college to a W-2 job to now also investing to create an opportunity that you are now making passive income, but you use your W-2 income, and you were able to use your W-2 income to create passive income and invest in other places because you made college affordable and you made college profitable by making sound decisions as you transition from high school. And so all of that comes into play as you're trying to set yourself up for success. And so I think that's important as we talk to young people out there about transitioning. And so this will have good replay value for young people as they're trying to decide how to prepare for college and the real world. We talked about adulting, and as you transition to Colorado, and like I said, we'll come back maybe later this week or another time, whether we do it on Zoom if you are in Colorado, and talk a little bit more about investing and what you did with ETFs. And lastly, where do you see yourself in 5 years from now financially and 10 years from now?
Eventually having my own place, home, house that is getting paid off, the mortgage getting paid off, and hopefully, if not close to being done, on the way to get done and paid off in full. Whether I'm still in the federal jobs, being part of that, and also in the process of having my own business or starting it, and whether that's still being employed or not, just having that as an option because even though it's not a big deal of possibly retiring at 50, 60, I personally don't think I want to do that. So yeah, just having my own business, entrepreneurial thing going on, I would like to have that start happening or already in flow and in action by then.
Okay. Well, once again, we've been on here for about an hour and 15 minutes, ladies and gentlemen, and I appreciate everybody that tuned in. Shout out to Sharonda Robertson. Tell my main man, my boy, Dane, Mr. Lefty, tell him I said hello and that Coach still loves him. And also everyone, you remember Lil Dane that used to be in the gym with us?
Yeah.
Yeah, the little kid used to be training with us. Now he's all grown up and everything. I'm sure he's probably in high school, if not getting ready to graduate by now. I'm getting old. But everyone, just keep in mind, I am on YouTube Live and I am on Facebook Live. On YouTube, you can catch me on Coach Steele Finance Training. Please go on YouTube and subscribe, also feel free to put in comments and different discussions as far as financial literacy, what you want to talk about. Next time me and Simon get on here, we're going to discuss ETFs and hopefully, who knows, maybe my guy Dejan will jump in there and give us some wisdom as well. Dejan Tanay is a wealth of knowledge and has his own business and things that he has going on as well. So maybe he can dive into that discussion just a little as well. But feel free to continue to follow, tune in, share this information with people that need financial literacy. She said, I'm sure I will tell him. I will tell him he at the gym training. I'm not surprised. Yes, Little Simon has grown up. He is no longer Little Simon. And like I said, I appreciate everybody tuning in. I enjoyed this conversation, perspective, financial literacy from someone going from high school to college to being a W-2 employee, investing money to create passive income so that eventually when it's time, they can disconnect and do the things that they enjoy to do, love to do. Shout out to my sister, Anitra, from tuning in. And like I told you all earlier, she has these amazing candles, lemon verbena, which I might be pronouncing wrong, and strawberry shortcake. Of course, everybody on YouTube, you can see not only with these candles, you see the lemon and you see the strawberry in there. Everybody on Facebook, they smell amazing. They are awesome. So if you are interested in candles, she does ship them out. It is Posh Lifestyles Company. And she is on YouTube and she is on Facebook where you can order those candles as well. But definitely appreciate everybody tuning in while we discuss financial literacy. You all have an amazing day, and we look forward to talking to you again soon. Anything you want to say?
Just I guess the whole point is just to be prepared, know what you want to do, and if you don't know what to do, start figuring out what you want to do. And then once you start that process, everything will get simpler as it goes on.
All right. Thanks for tuning in. Y'all have a good one.